Hey, Pete, something ain't right, man. Look at this. Run! What's going on? They're looking for volunteers for a training seminar. Levi, come on! You're not another all-day session! Get me to the training seminar! Get me to the training seminar!
Sign out, please.
Do more than just survive the work week. A better job awaits, and CareerBuilder.com has the most.
Shawn, is it true what they say that the grass is always greener at the bottom of the gorge?
I don't know. I don't like your questions. You know, this place. I do like this commercial though. It's like anybody's office. I mean, it's a jungle out there, right? And if you work in this place, management is trying to sandbag you or manipulate you or trap you, and you've got to avoid all those things. So I loved it. I think it works. And if you need to avoid those things, CareerBuilder.com is your answer, right?
Do you work for them?
Yeah, really? Wow.
Well, I guess I haven't worked in that kind of corporate setting before, but I didn't even understand this commercial. And two things strike me. One, what is so terrible about a training seminar? So in other words, they're going to teach these people something so that they're going to have to like update their skills? That's such a nightmare. And then two, how weird is our society at this point that 110 people jumping off a cliff is now considered hilarious entertainment? Without any kind of comment at all. I just thought it was very weird. I mean, aren't we all concerned about outsourcing? And isn't the reason there's outsourcing because nobody's picking up their training skills? I guess I just don't get it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I really did get it because my workplace is a lot like that. And I just identify with it because there's so many ridiculous meetings, and it's not a training seminar. It's the accumulation of worthless training seminars over a whole period of time. And I identify with the feeling of wanting to escape, not to jump off a cliff, but just to get out of the office. And, I imagine myself, I remember, all the time just sort of kind of trying to sneak out when it was time for another meeting. And I identify with that commercial on that level.
But what is CareerBuilder.com going to get them? A job where there isn't any training?
A job in the desert.
It's not.
A job in the desert.
It's not going to, it doesn't work to solve the problem, but I think it does identify the problem, which is that it's really stifling to work in corporate America. And the meeting stuff is really what makes it so stifling.
But the business imperative is that it's an alternative to suicide. Isn't that what they're saying?
Well, exactly. Work is so bad that you want to jump off the cliff, right? And you want to run
I
away.
don't even know if those guys. I am that crazy guy. I think he's just running blind to get the hell out of there. Everybody else is following him. And he just happens to run off the cliff, unfortunately.
Well, and I think that the cliff is kind of, frankly, for me, a disturbing metaphor for what happens when you stay in the same job. You're basically making yourself into a lemming, and you're giving your life up, and you're jumping over the cliff. And I do think there is that connection they're looking for to say, Career Builder has a door. We're going to open the door for you. Come to our site and go through it. Frankly, I miss their old commercials. If you remember, it was the guy who worked for the company filled with chimpanzees, and everything they did was just, they were all laughing at everything, and he couldn't work. To me, that also drew the line very well between, if you're working for people who drive you nuts, get on our website.
I think all of their commercials play on what a deep alienation that people have working inside of corporate jobs.
But does any website have the answer to that? They're going to have just the most worthless non-jobs on that website, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, what they do is open the door so you can go to another job exactly like that one. I mean, all the jobs.
But without any training required.
Without any training.
Hey, I've given training seminars, and I'm a little offended by that. I'm just going to say that, all right?
I wonder if the business purpose is that they're rotating the noxious stimuli, because previously it was your coworkers and now it's your boss. So they needed to change that. You turn it every couple of years to keep people looking for new jobs.
Could be.
The herd instinct. I'm fascinated by the herd instinct. I mean, we all think that we don't do it, but I mean, if you look at time lapse, there was that great movie a few years ago, Koyaanisqatsi, where it's slow motion and it's just people,
John,
flow.
that was about 20.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I'm under exaggerating. Okay, time for exit question. What would you volunteer for, Shawn?
If you ever find a comedian that's running for United States Senate, I'd volunteer for them because they tell the truth.
Merrill.
I thought I would volunteer to take that training seminar. There's nobody going to be there. We don't have private attention. It's a beautiful setting. It's like in paradise, it looks like.
Leola.
I would volunteer to count Warren Buffett's money.
Jim.
Well, I have been volunteering to go to New Orleans and work for Habitat for Humanity, and I think everybody
Yeah.
should.
Yeah, that's great.
I'd volunteer for a bungee jump, but I'd want to make sure there's a bungee. Coming up next,